Hey guys, how's it going? Hang on a sec. We're just letting everybody queue up and get ready here. And thanks for joining me for yet another farm meeting here at Goldshaw Farm. It's the June 2021 farm meeting. I can't believe we're like already almost at the midpoint of 2021. It has been crazy this year. I feel like so much is going on, especially this time of year around the farm. And so I'm really excited to be here with you guys today to talk about it and tell you a little bit of what's going on live right now, just even with my day. I see so many of you guys have come back. Beef Wellington, Boldly Grow, Nicholas, Glitch, Stephen Provost, Mr. King Kong, Bjorn, Sandy Bunny. I could just be here all night reading names. But guys, I appreciate it when you show up here. I appreciate when you come hang out with myself. And as always, my co-host, Lil Barncat. Say hi to everybody, Lil. And yeah, let's get into it. So for today's farm meeting, I want to talk to you guys about a couple of things. I want to give you a little bit of an update on the barn cat situation, because I know I've got a lot of questions about that and people are wondering. I also know that there's a number of questions about what's going on with the cows, and so we'll get into that. I'll also talk about hatching and some of the problems that I've had. And I'll even, I know people are always wondering about, kind of the new puppy and all that. So I'll go into that too. So just the spoiler, let me put a pin in that one. No new news. We're still waiting for dogs to get pregnant, which is weird. I never thought I'd spend this much time thinking about someone else's dog and when they're going through their fertility cycles. But yeah, that's the life I live these days. And wow, Nikki Colpitz, I'm glad you could join for the your first farm meeting. These are always really fun. These are informal. This is just sort of hanging out. But I really actually want to talk to you guys about the fact that I was almost very late for this farm meeting. And so I wanted to just sort of tell you the story of what happened this afternoon. So as you guys know, I'm getting ready to get cows. And one of the deals that I made with my wife, Allison, is before I can get the cattle, I'm going to need to clean out the barn. We've got this gigantic barn, and it's so full of crud, and I haven't done a good job of keeping it clean and tidy. And so the deal that Allison made with me, because she really knows me really well, is that I wouldn't be able to get the cows until I cleaned out the barn. And so I've been in the process of doing that. And one of the things I've been doing is selling like old equipment. So for example, when we first got the farm, I used to use a pull-behind brush hog. It was a DR Power pull-behind brush hog, and that was how I would cut down everything and, make sure that there was no weeds and make sure that things were like in good shape. And I used it for about 3 years. But when we got our tractor, Large Marge, last fall, I stopped having a need for it. So I decided to sell this brush hog on the internet and sold it on Facebook Marketplace. And oh, hey, Lacey Bobasi, what's going on? And when I got somebody to buy it, he paid me via Venmo. We were all ready to go. He came here to load it up this evening about an hour ago. But when he got here, the trailer that he had was like one of those U-Haul trailers, and it was like 4 feet. And this mower is about 4 feet wide. And so we spent, I don't know, maybe a half an hour tilting and turning this thing, which probably weighs about 450 pounds. And we eventually got it in there. But I feel like there was a moment where I almost lost my hand. I feel like there was a moment where he almost lost his foot. It was like really hard, a lot of cursing and sweating to get it in there. But we finally got it in there. And then as soon as I got through that, I had to like rush to get the animals situated and put away before, because while I'm doing this time of year, it's dark by the time this ends. And so I've been like running. So if you see me sweating and if you see me like, looking a little out of breath, that's what it comes from. But I'm really glad that everybody could be here. And I will be taking your questions. I will be talking about cows. I'll be going through it all. So let's buckle up. But I want to say thank you to the first super chat of the night, the Milkman, who says, let's see, what does the Milkman say? I feed a wild pack of domestic geese near my house and name them and everything. Love geese and ducks. Yeah, please give Toby his house back. Okay. let me address that one. As far as Toby's house goes, he's actually not going to use his house this time of year to begin with. He's moved on to going to his favorite place to sleep at night, which is actually underneath the duck house because that's the coolest. And so he's not. And the silky eggs have not hatched yet, Pablito, but I'm pretty sure it's going to happen very soon. So, guys, I want to actually also just take a moment to give a shout out to my moderators who are here tonight. I think I saw Ethan from 180 Degrees from Average. I saw Kira from Homestead Dreaming, who, by the way, congratulations, Kira, over at Homestead Dreaming. You just hit the 10,000 subscriber mark. That's a huge milestone. I know how hard you have actually worked to get there, and so kudos to you, Kira. Also, I think Rose from Wholesome Roots is here as well. And so, always, without these moderators, I would not be able to do these live streams, guys. And so much thank you to all of them. And also thank you to Tehran the Scrub in Oregon. I really appreciate that, Tehran. All right. So let me get into the first question of the night, which is about the barn cats. And I've got good news, guys. Barn cats are imminent. The 2 new barn cats are coming very soon. We are just waiting for a situation to clear up, and then we will move them to our farm, and they will be here, and I'll start to do the process of training barn cats. I'll do some videos showing you guys how I train the barn cats and how I get them to know that this is their home and all that good stuff. What's happening with the barn cats is this. So a friend of my wife's, she actually has a barn, and she had this cat take up shop inside her barn, and that cat had a litter of kittens. And so it's a tabby cat, looks actually very similar to Pablo of all animals. And she had a litter of, I don't know exactly how many, it was probably like 6, 7 kittens. And so this friend has been giving away the kittens. And once all the kittens are given away, except for one, we're going to take the mom cat and the kitten. And those are going to be our 2 new barn cats. And so I'm really excited about it. It should be next couple of weeks that they end up here on the farm. Like I said, we want to make sure that, the other kittens get dispersed before we bring the mom on our farm. We actually wanted to take the mom because it's usually always good to have an older cat be a barn cat. It's easier to train than a younger one. But the fact that it's the mom and a young one, they will work together. And so I'm really excited about that. So that's the good news. I also saw a question about Lil Barn Cat. I missed it in the chat. Oh, there it is. How is she doing? And I can actually answer that one for you guys. Let her answer it for you. Lil Barn Cat is doing really well. She's always very shy when it comes to me having my lights on for the video chat, but she's doing really good. She's very mobile now. She's very happy as an indoor cat. My allergies have not been too bad. And the craziest thing is, right, it's actually almost been a year. It'll be a year in at the end of this month that she was hit by a car. And we seriously didn't think she was going to make it. She had a broken pelvis. She had a ruptured bladder. She had a couple of other bruising and injuries and trauma. And, miraculously, she has just been able to survive and endure. And I just absolutely love it. Oh, thank you, Alejandro from Nicaragua. I really appreciate that super chat. And also thank you to Bodie Roy. Really appreciate it, and appreciate that you like that we're, going through the YouTube grind. It's much appreciated. So that was kind of the first topic. So barn cats. And if you guys have questions, by the way, please put them in the chat, but put them in all caps because it's easier for me to see. The chat always moves so quick. And I'm such a bad person when it comes to ADD that, anything I can see. All right, but I am going to hit a couple of questions really quick. Janitor is back, is asking me to say kitten again, or kitten. I don't know. I say it kitten. Is it weird how I say it? I don't know. But yeah, kitten. And then Jackson's asking, what's my favorite type of music? I would say, I like a lot of different things, and I know everybody says that, but if I had to only have one genre of music that I could only listen to at all times, I think it would be punk rock. Like a broad range of stuff, everything from old stuff like Ramones or Dead Kennedys to the Descendants to NoFX to Crimp Shrine to Screeching Weasel to like even newer stuff like a lot of folk punk like Days and Days. That's a lot of the stuff that I like. Oh wow, thank you, Terry Martins. I will buy Mr. You know what? I'm going to use that, and I will buy Toby something nice. I've actually found a new dog food that Toby really likes. That's a little pricey, but I will use that money that you just gave us to, actually buy Toby some food. So thank you, and I'll get the fancy kind. Okay, let's see. What do we got? So when did you realize I wanted to pursue farming? I would say that I really. It's about 5 years ago now. It was when I was living in Washington, D.C., and I was sort of becoming somewhat disillusioned with my career path at the time. And it was really in that process what I ultimately got to, starting to look at other things that I wanted to do. And one of the things that I got into was gardening, where, when I was living in New York, I was growing rooftop tomatoes. And when I moved to D.C., I really started to aggressively grow more food like in our yard. And that's sort of what got me into wanting to scale up a bit. So we grow wildflowers as it is. So our pasture is rampant with wildflowers. We also have a lot of trees for the bees. So especially like right now, like the locusts, the apples are just past their bloom. Lilacs are going crazy around us right now. We got a ton of lilac. So there's like all sorts of stuff. And so we have a lot of flowering trees, which is probably the biggest source, but then also our pasture and a lot of the wildflowers that grow in the pasture are a big part of what feeds the bees. So yeah. And thank you, Kira. So Mama Goose is doing good. If you guys actually really are curious about the saga of Mama Goose, I've been trying to follow her story pretty close to every day on TikTok. And so if you follow our TikTok account, it's just Goldshaw Farm on TikTok, you'll see daily updates on Mother Goose. What I'm starting to get into a rhythm of is the TikTok stuff is like sort of like daily, like live. Here's what's going on at this given moment here on the farm. The YouTube stuff is usually about a week or two behind just because it takes me time to edit those. So that's the difference. All right. Do I have any tips on duck eggs? They're going to hatch tomorrow. Well, congratulations, Aiden. That's awesome. In terms of tips that I have, I would say, number one, don't rush to open the incubator. You can leave them in there for a little while, and it's actually better for the birds. So that'd be the first thing. And then second, make sure you have your brooder ready to go before you pull them out of the incubator. So like make sure all the lamps are warmed up, or if you're using like heating plates, make sure those are warmed up. And really make sure you can like have like everything set. So those would be my two things. And then third thing is really focus on water management. Like how do you keep your ducks from making a mess? I've made some videos on it in the past. And yeah, I definitely keep that. Oh, thank you, Fimbles. And yes, we will spoil Toby Dog. All right. I'm going to actually go to the grocery store tomorrow, and I'm going to get actually some of the fancy, dog food for him, and it's all on behalf of you guys. So thank you. Chub Rock is asking, what is my tattoo of? So this tattoo, I actually got this tattoo on my 18th birthday. It's a drawing that I did myself. That's like barbed wire and hearts, which I don't know, is maybe a little regrettable and maybe a little bit cheesy, but I like it. I had it. This maybe kind of a teenage boy metaphor, I guess. I actually got it, so my birthday is in March. And so I was still in high school when I got it. When I went to high school too, I went to a Catholic high school, and, we had a very strict dress code. You had to go in like with a uniform and everything. And I remember I waited, like I got it on my 18th birthday, and I was so excited because I was going to like show off my tattoo in school, because I very carefully read the rule book to see like, were there any rules about having tattoos at this school? And there weren't. And so what I did was, I remember I went into like the class of the strictest nun that I had at the time, Sister Marion Raymond. And I like one afternoon, it was like, I don't know, maybe a week or two after I got the tattoo, I rolled up my sleeves just like I'm rolling them up right now. And she saw the tattoo and her jaw just dropped. It like slammed on the table. Like she couldn't get over it. And I basically, she got so upset. She sent me to the principal's office, and the vice principal and the principal were looking at it and trying to decide what to do. And they realized, well, there really was no rule against it. I hadn't done anything wrong. I was 18. It was legal. And so they ended up changing the student handbook afterwards and adding a thing about not being allowed to have visible tattoos. And so that's my way of changing East Catholic High School. So there you go. All right. Here's another question I wanted to spend some time on and really get into on the live today. So, as Ginex non-existent is asking, did the hatching rates, did I fix the incubator? I haven't yet. I have another batch that is due to hatch, I think like Monday or Tuesday. I know I'm going on lockdown on Friday night, Saturday morning. And basically I'm cooling them. I've been checking the temperature all throughout the incubator. It's been very consistent. The humidity has stayed very, very consistent. The rotation thing, a lot of people actually said, is that the right type of rotation for goose eggs? And folks I've talked to have said that it is, but I don't know. So we're going to see what my next rate is. Right now, my hatching rate's like, I don't know, if I average both hatches together, somewhere around 25%. I was really hoping and expecting a 50% hatching rate. I know I'm not going to hit my 150 goose goal this year. It is what it is. You just sort of live with it. I'm learning a lot, though. I'm learning a lot on a couple levels. I'm going to actually try to make a couple of videos about lessons I learned about trying to hatch my own geese. So that'll be a future video for sure. It'll also be something that I'm talking about at Homesteaders of America. And so I wanted to actually mention this tonight, that, Homesteaders of America, which is a great organization, I think they're based in Virginia. They do an annual conference every year down in Front Royal, Virginia. I'm going to be speaking this year, talking about raising geese and, talking about some of my experiences. I'll also be hanging out there. So if you guys want to meet live, it's probably the best place to do it is, come on down to Front Royal, Virginia. It's a lot of fun. There's a lot of great people there. It's just such a good, chill vibe. So many good people. So I strongly encourage you to think about doing that. And just go to homesteadersofamerica.com, and they'll have all sorts of information about the Virginia conference. And it's a lot of fun. Hey, thank you, William Wallace. Yes, I will give your wife a shout out. So, hey, Emily, and hey, Cliff and Callie. Cliff and Callie, I'm glad you like the farm vlog, and thank you guys for watching, and thank you, William Wallace. Freedom. Wow, congratulations, Lacey. That's pretty cool. You've had some baby peacocks. So Jessica Taylor, lots of people like to ask me this one about whether or not I will ever get goats, and probably the answer is I don't plan on it, just because I have just no interest in working with them. They're escape artists. I also actually think that they're less sustainable in terms of the type of land that we have, where they'd be great for a couple of years, but then after a while they'd actually work themselves out of a job, versus what I want to do is really focus in on cattle and kind of raising them that way. So that's my biggie. Okay, Shadow Wolf. By the way, guys, I love when people ask me to name things. It's like one of my favorite things about the farm, naming my animals. And if people ask me to name their animals, I'm always happy to do it. All right, you have a small hen with no tail. What should I name her? Small hen, no tail. No tail. Oh, let me think about that. I'll come back to that one, Shadow Wolf. And hey, guys, yeah, I'm sorry if I'm not getting to questions fast enough. I am doing my best. I try to, do these without becoming schizophrenic. But yeah, if you put your questions in all caps, it will be the case. All right, Angela, what medicine do I use for my birds? So I use them in a couple of things. I use Vetrex. I found that that's actually been pretty helpful in the past. And so that's one thing. I've used a couple of antibiotics here and there for like cuts and wounds. Vetricin, Blue Coat for wounds is another thing I like a lot. So yeah. Spencer babies. So right now I'd say my favorite breed of duck is the Cayuga, but very soon, I think it's actually July. We're going to be getting, so next month, which I can't believe July is coming up on us. We're going to be getting some new ducks on the farm, and we're going to be getting runner ducks, and I'm really excited about them too. So they might become my new favorite. So, hey, and as Don mentions, yes, there are tickets available. You have to buy tickets to go to Homesteaders of America. I forget exactly how much they cost. And so, but yeah, check it out. Their website will have the stuff. I don't know, Don, if you want to drop a link. By the way, Don is another one of our moderators over at Little Mountain Life. Check him out for sure too. All right. What will I do with the bees in the winter, as some places exterminate them and get new ones when it forms? So I won't be doing that. So I will not exterminate them. But it's actually very hard for people around here to keep their bees alive. And so my plan is I'm going to actually be building sort of like an insulation structure around their hives in the late fall. And my hope is that that will help them survive. I don't know if that's going to work or not, but we'll see. What up, Red Bracelet 2020? So the wheat gosling, I'm not going to answer this question, Dan. Tomorrow's video is all about the wheat gosling, and you guys will get a kind of a full update. But I don't want to spoil the video. If you guys are really curious, you can go on TikTok. You got any ideas for cleaning of the cows when you get them? Yeah. So I mentioned I was cleaning out the barn earlier. And so my plan is I'm going to do like a deep litter bedding method, kind of similar to what I do with my ducks in the winter, where I just keep piling fresh bedding up. And then in the springtime, I'm actually going to rent a little skid steer, because my tractor is too big to get underneath the barn. But with like a little skid steer, I'm going to dig it all out and use that to like pick up the bedding, pull it out, compost it, and use it for various things like around our garden and whatnot. So why did I pick Toby as his name? So it's actually something that Allison came up with. I came up with the very goofy formal name of Sir Bartleby de Mimsey Porpington, Earl of Caledonia County. That's actually his full name. And Allison said, "Oh, that's great. We can call him Toby, like Bartleby. Toby is sort of how she shortened it." And so, yeah. What up, Lola? Okay, FA Adventurous. This is another good question. I really like, let's see, some of my favorites would be, I'm rereading the Dark Tower series by Stephen King, and I forgot how much I like those books. It's a great story. So I'm like about 2/3 through that right now. I love a lot of beat writers, actually. I like Kurt Vonnegut's maybe one of my favorite. I know he's not a beat, but he's also one of my favorites. There's, I'm trying to think what else. I love a lot of like comic books and graphic novels. I love Art Crumb. I don't know if you guys know Art Crumb, but yeah, he's a huge one. Why do I have so many books, Joel? Because I love to read. So when I lived like in, cities, like when I was living in New York or Boston or DC, I never had enough space to take all the books that I had in storage and like put them up as a wall. And now that's actually what I've been able to do. So you can actually see it's like, all those books are like all of my favorite books. I usually get rid of the books I don't like, but I take all the books that I do like and I put them up there. And I just love having them. It makes me so happy to just kind of sit over in that chair. Lil ends up sitting on my lap, and I'll just kind of curl up with a book and read. It makes me really happy. I probably won't dye Toby's hair when I try to make the sweater out of it. Because I actually kind of want to try to keep it like a natural fiber. I'll probably end up having to mix it with like either alpaca or sheep wool. But I don't intend to dye it. Like I'd rather have it be like a weird natural color. I have never tried doing that. Those oranges. I'm not sure you actually can. They're two different species. The closest you can get is you can crossbreed like a duck, like say like a Cayuga duck with or a pecan with like the Muscovy, which is Muscovies are, people call them ducks, but they're like cousins of both ducks and geese. So they're like their own separate subspecies, I think, or species. And so from like a evolutionary tree perspective, they sort of sit in between the two. You can't crossbreed Muscovies and geese though, but you can't crossbreed ducks and geese. That just won't work. I actually made a whole video about it if you're really curious about the topic. Yeah, I'm with you, Rose. I love books too. And by the way, guys, be sure to check out Wholesome Roots. Great channel. Wow, that's a deep question, iRoseline. Yeah, I definitely have regrets. I think I regret, sometimes, maybe having a closed mind. I think there's times where I've been more closed-minded or too like narrow-minded. And I wish I had taken a better way there. I wish I've displayed more patience in my life at various times. So I regret not doing that. I think, there's things in terms of what I've done where it didn't end up the way I'd like it, but I don't regret it. Like, so for example, my career path, I got to a point where I was kind of unhappy with what I was doing, but if I hadn't gone that route, I don't think I would have ended up where I am right now. And I'm very happy with where I am today. And so, I think there's that combination of sort of regretting actions versus regretting kind of stations in life, if that makes any sense. Yeah, I love the Dune books. That was a great series too that I enjoyed. I like some sci-fi, not like a huge sci-fi guy, but like there's definitely some stuff in like the Dune books. One of my favorite sci-fi books of all time is actually Neuromancer by William Gibson. I really enjoy that. Well, thank you, Stephanie. I really appreciate that. Yeah, check us out, YouTube and TikTok. We do a lot of content on both. Okay, I know everybody wants to hear, when am I getting the new puppy? I still don't know. I am hoping and praying, and I'm not even a religious person, but I'm really hoping that that we get a puppy very soon. And so, yeah, it's going to be as soon as I know, you guys will know, believe me. All right, what else we got? So when you started the farm, how did you expect it to go? That's a great question. I think when I started the farm, I didn't appreciate how important the business side of the farm really is. Like, I spent a lot of my time thinking about like the business and how to sell stuff and working with people and selling stuff. It's not just raising animals. I think I also underestimated how much work it would be. I also didn't expect myself to enjoy things like building as much. And so that's been a pleasant surprise versus what I expected it to be. How goes the construction of dome, winter goose house, large Marge shed? So there are actually a couple of different things. So Diego, I want to separate that out. So the structure that's going to be the winter goose house is actually a hoop house. So it's like almost like a greenhouse type structure that's going to be 100 feet long and about 20 feet wide and about 10 feet tall. So I can get the tractor in to clear it out. That is going well. Actually, Alfred and I are starting to map out our dates for actually working. We've got the order in for all the piping that we need that we're going to be bending with the invention that Alfred built. We're going to be grading it out and making sure it's actually on a slight slope so that the water drains off properly. And so you're going to see a lot of activity in the next couple of weeks around that one. So really gearing up. It's going to happen pretty quick. I'm excited for that one. I love the Game of Thrones book, and please let this be my public declaration of I love those books. And dang it, George R.R. Martin, why can't you finish it off? I was really disappointed with how the TV show ended because it was just so rushed. And I'm sure the concept that you had there would have been awesome. And so I look forward to reading those books and hope that they get finished. Yeah, I'm with you. I love those books. Song of Ice and Fire, So what is Toby's favorite food? So, usually I do, I think it's called like wild buffalo or something. It's like it's a red meat feed. So I make sure that there's no chicken or poultry inside the feed because so often my chickens are eating Toby's food, even though I try to keep them from doing that. And because of that, I, get that type. And so that's what his main food is. That's the dry kibble that you see me feed him. When I don't do that and I want to give him a treat, there's this, I forget the name of the brand, but it's like this refrigerated dog food that he absolutely loves. And so thank you to a couple of those super chats. I'm going to go out and buy some of that tomorrow. But yeah, he loves it. Okay, I got to come back to the chicken that had no tail and was small. I'm trying to think, what was the tailspin? I always think could be kind of a weird name, or like Nancy No Tail would be kind of a fun one. Like you do it sort of like it's a mobster name. Handbag Man. Have I managed to do any writing myself recently? No, I have been slacking still. I've been so busy with projects around the farm that I have not had a chance to do much writing. I actually feel very guilty about that right now. I don't plan on getting any of those birds. I'm just not into doing sort of the smaller birds and adding more complexity to things. So I try to keep it simple. Thinking of getting the same incubator. Any advice how you keep your duck eggs clean for incubation? Also give Lil a treat or rub. Okay, well, Michael Gilmore, this treat that I have right here, it's a I'll show you. These are Lil's favorite. They're Sheba savory sticks or something. But this is for Lil. Hey, Lil, come on. This is from Michael. Come on. Come here. Come on. It's your favorite. It's treat time for Lil. I don't know if you guys can see. It's kind of dark in here. Come on. Come on. She likes to eat it like a cigar. Thank you, Michael. So in terms of keeping duck eggs clean, the biggest trick that I've found is ever since I stopped putting the water with the ducks at night, their house has gotten 50 times cleaner. And so that would be the first thing I'd say is don't put water in there if you want to keep your eggs clean. I think the other thing is consistently keep adding fresh straw. That will also keep them much cleaner as well. And so those would be the two pieces I would advise. If I hatch half wild ducks, because they're actually those wild ducks are still hanging around pretty regularly. I will just raise them as part of the flock. I would be honored to have them in the mix. So I haven't seen any bobcats. I've seen a couple of woodchucks lately. The trail cameras are picking up some interesting stuff. I should actually make a video showing you guys some of the cool things that I've seen on the trail cameras lately. But no bobcats. Yeah. Okay, Matthew does stuff. I have a mallard duck nest in my yard and they hatched this morning. They are so cute. I'm sad that they're going to leave tomorrow morning for the pond. Do you think she will nest again? Possibly. I mean, if it's a good, safe habitat, you could see her coming back annually. But, that's especially when it comes to wild animals. You guys really shouldn't interfere with them. Even if you want to feed them, I actually don't think it's good to feed the wild animals. You got to let them do their own thing. So, yeah. All right, you guys are building a chicken coop. Any advice for heating, venting, winter? So, and I don't heat here, and we're in Vermont, so we're a pretty cold climate. So you probably don't need to necessarily heat. In terms of venting, yeah, don't underestimate how much ventilation you want to give. You want to give more than you think you need, because that's actually the biggest health risk you're going to have is not getting good air in there for your birds. So that would be probably the biggest piece. You have a groundhog at the farm too? Yeah, I might have to evict our groundhog. So what is the plan for hay? Would it be from your field? No, Allie's. Actually, Allie's Acres. My plan is actually to buy. And let me explain why. When I do the business case for how much it would cost me to buy the equipment, take the time, work the tractor, and get my hay together, and actually even do them in round bales, which is what I'd want to do, which is just going to be easier. It doesn't make any sense for the scale that I'm working at. I'm much better off because I have a lot of neighbors who have large haying equipment, can do round bales very easily, have access to fields. And so what I do is I actually just basically go to them and have them provide me with it. So that'll be how I do it. Thank you, Kevin Miller. I appreciate that super chat. And hey, Dead Knight. Hi there. I'm a college student. I've been watching you since the end of high school in 2018. Just want to say it's been so cool watching me grow. That's awesome, man. You've been, or gal or whoever. Sorry, I don't mean to misgender you. I really appreciate you watching. And that's cool. Since in 2018, I mean, that's been like since the beginning, because I started making videos in the spring of 2018. So yeah, you've been right there for the whole ride. That's so cool. Ooh, wait, what happened to Michael Gilmore there? There it is. Okay. Thanks. Can you explain how to tell a gander from a goose? I have 3-month-old geese, and all my eggs are a disgrace. Wait, do all of the above, but the eggs are a disgrace. Yeah, they can, geese eggs especially. I find they actually get dirty if you don't grab them quick, because when the geese sit on them, they really rub them down. Well, I mean, I guess the first thing I would say is whoever's laying the eggs are going to be the ones who are the females, even though I don't think that a 3-month-old goose would be laying eggs. So I don't know. I think second, I think neck is actually probably the biggest thing that I look for. Sort of the longer the neck, I found has typically been the gander. But it really, I actually don't want to give you some bad advice here, because it depends so much on the breed and the coloring, and there's a lot of things that go into it. So even I'm probably going to get the cows later this summer into the early fall. I've got a couple actually herds that I'm talking about right now. I'm looking at Dexter cattle, for those who were asking that earlier. Yeah, that's a biggie. So Bonnie, yes, locust trees are nitrogen fixers. That's why I love having locust trees, and I'm getting ready to make a video about sprouting more locust trees. I'm a huge fan. I'm also a huge fan, by the way, of Stefan Subkowiak, who's the guy you're talking about, the permaculture orchard guy. I've based a lot of what I do here on our farm on his teachings. He's got a YouTube channel. You should guys check it out. It's really good stuff. I enjoy watching his videos. He's a funny dude. And like he is just like, he and I actually were just messaging the other day. I'm going to try to, as soon as the border opens up between the US and Canada, I'm going to go up to his place and check it out, because I love what he's doing up there. I want a personal egg supply. How much space do I comfortably need to do so? Thanks. Well, Jazzy Low, I think it sort of depends. I think if you wanted your own personal egg supply, if you had 3 hens, that's what you need. So that's not that much. And then if you wanted to think about how much space you needed, I would say plan for a coop that has at least 2 to 3 square feet per bird. That's probably a little bit of an overkill, but you want them to be more spaced out and healthy than not. So yeah, you probably do 2 feet for the indoor coop space. And then if you can plan for, say, 10 square feet per bird, that's what you could get away with, but you would need to keep putting down fresh bedding for them. If you had like a yard that was, say, 100 feet by 100 feet, like that's way more than you'd ever need. You probably have like 6 chickens in that sort of space. How do you train your ducks to go to bed? So, I made a video on this. So just look for all ducks go to bed, and you'll find some videos about this topic in terms of how I actually did it. And you'll see me doing the process. But the main things are, number 1, consistency. Number 2, have a ritual and routine that you do every night where you put food in there so that they get food. You actually do your cadence and how you call, like, all ducks go to bed, like the same way. And then you actually also create a chute that's going to drive them in, so you can like actually just push them in, like use like little fencing. And I think that's the combination that I think works the best. And if you do those things consistently, they should get it after a little bit of time. Sorry, Devin. You can't see Toby Dog in the flesh. He's actually outside doing his job right now. As you can see, it's gotten dark here. You can see the portrait of Toby Dog, though. He's right back there. Okay. Michael Gilmore, thank you again. PBR Emden Geese. I'm in Ireland, and we're getting Dexters soon. Oh, you're getting Dexters too. That's like in Ireland's where Dexters come from. That's awesome. So if you have Emden Geese, I would say look for the neck. At 3 months, it's a little tough to tell still, but like look at their neck. The longer, taller geese are going to be your males. Oh, hey, Jack, what's going on, buddy? Also, another moderator to call out. I just want to say, thank you to all my moderators. Again, we've got Jack over at the Mindful Homestead. We got Kira over at Homestead Dreaming, who, again, is celebrating that 10,000 subscriber milestone. We got Rose over at Wholesome Roots, Don over at Little Mountain Life. I think I got everybody. So yeah, so thank you guys. You guys really do make this possible. I don't know, Isaac. I haven't seen or heard from Hobo Cat in months. How did I convince Allison about farming? It was hard. It was like, I mean, it wasn't hard. It was, we both wanted to live on a farm. Allison, though, just wanted to kind of be at a homestead scale. I really wanted to try to create a farm business. And I think that is like, I think the biggest point of friction for us. But it was just about kind of finding a balance and finding something where where I wasn't working on a scale that would scare her. And she was, you know, willing to kind of let me take some risks and figure out a way to make it all financially viable. And so I think, you know, much like anything in a marriage, right? It is a partnership. And if you can't get both partners on board, it's going to be very hard. Yet you also can't expect, you know, each partner to like have, you know, like an equal amount of interest in it. And so it's about finding just that right balance. That is honestly the truth, like what it really comes down to. It really is. I got to say, this year managing our farm versus last year managing our farm, where last year I was doing it with like temporary poultry netting, and this year I'm doing it with like the permanent fence. My Lord, it makes life so much easier. I'm totally with you. Ooh, that's a great question, Northern Penn Rail Productions. What floor will the cows be? So for those of you guys who don't know, our barn has 3 levels. So it was traditionally a dairy barn when it was built like around 1890 or so. The 3rd floor is actually for hay, and there's a ramp that goes from the back pasture all the way up to the 3rd floor so that they could like drive a hay cart up to the top there and do that. And so that's the main point where they get the hay up there. The 2nd floor is where actually they kept the cows and they do all the milking. And so they walk the cows up this ramp to go to the 2nd floor, which is kind of crazy to think that you have like, you know, 20 cows sitting on the 2nd floor of a barn like that. And then on the basement level, it was actually the stalls for the pigs and the horses and the manure. And so what they would do is they could drop the hay down from the 3rd floor to the 2nd floor, and then the cattle would poop on the 2nd floor, and there were like trap doors that would drop the poop down to the basement, and that's how it would work. I'm not going to do that though. So because we're doing beef cows and because I don't trust the structural integrity of the barn, we're going to be keeping the cattle in the winter on the 1st floor of the barn. Hey, North Star Prepstetter, how's it going there, Kathy? Oh, Mary, I wanted to say that. Thank you, Mary. Thank you very much, Mary. If you're looking for some new music to listen to when doing chores, Sturgill Simpson, his Sound and Fury album is awesome. I will check that out. Thank you for the recommendations there. Oh, I'm sorry, I missed that question there. Thank you, Kira. One dig acid and super. If you considered keeping bees inside to harvest bees all year. No, I don't plan on keeping the bees inside. Bees are meant to be really, in my mind, like an outdoor thing, and so they will just be outdoors. Hey, my friends, the Naked Gardeners are here. Latest book I've read, and what do I like about it? Well, like I was saying earlier, I'm reading Dark Tower series. I'm actually reading The Wolves of the Callow right now. But in terms of a new book that I've just read, what did I just read? You know, actually, is it here? Do I have it here? Yeah, I do. So this is an old book, but for some reason I never read it, but I absolutely have loved it. It's called X'd Out by Charles Burns. Charles Burns, if you guys aren't familiar with him, he's like a cartoonist. He does like a lot of underground alternative stuff. Really, really talented guy. Really crazy drawing style. Like I mean, I don't know if you guys have seen this, but like just really weird sci-fi type stuff. You know, if you guys ever watched like Liquid Television back in the 90s on MTV, there was a show called Dog Boy, and he actually did that. So yeah, that's something I recently read. Thank you, Steve LaPointe. I really appreciate it. When is Toby's birthday? Toby's birthday is September 2nd. But I will absolutely add that to the dog food fund. So thank you, Steve. Oh, thank you, Ryder Chat. That's really nice of you too. I'm really glad you guys are here on the stream too. Thank you. Okay, what kind of ducks do you like to have? Cayuga. I have one Cayuga. Yeah, like I said, Cayugas are maybe my favorite. Like if I could only have one type of duck right now, I think it'd probably be Cayugas. Can Canada geese live with pilgrim geese? Buffering. Oh, is my internet going bad? I thought it looks like it was doing pretty good so far, but I don't know if that's the case. So if they're wild geese, probably not. If you had domesticated Canada geese, you could probably do that. But, usually the only thing that's willing to mess with Canada gooses is Canada mooses. So I suggest you let that one marinate. I don't know who got that reference. Thank you, Trash Man. Wow. You're inspired to start farming when you get out of the Navy. Well, thank you. I really appreciate you telling me that. The fact that somebody would want to farm because of what we're doing, that's just, I don't know, it's cool to me. So thank you for saying that. You're in Wales and you got a few geese and they're quite friendly with your cat, George. How is Pablo with the geese? It's funny. There's actually a scene in an upcoming video where Pablo's eating and the geese start to look at him and he's like, I want nothing to do with it. So Pablo is interesting. He is always fascinated with the young geese, but as soon as they hit about 2 or 3 weeks, he wants nothing to do with them. And when they're adults, he goes out of his way to stay out of the goose's way because the geese will just, it's not like they would like kill him, but they just harass the heck out of him. And he knows that they're just too big for him to fight. I love Dark Tower, the last book. I think King got a little burnt out and tired of people bugging him about the series. Yeah, I think that's possibly true. I mean, I don't know. I actually didn't mind it. I think I don't want to ruin the book for people, but like sort of towards the end, it sort of drags, but I actually love the way he actually ended it. I thought that was really good. Hey, what's going on there, Daryl? Good to see you. How are you guys doing? I hope Sherry's doing well. I know you guys have kind of been in recuperation mode. So, yeah. I think the biggest thing is when you have cats and you have birds, keep your cats away from the birds when they're babies. Because the cats are just going to instinctually kill those birds. Like I don't know, there's much you can do to truly train them. I mean, that's the reality. I think, have your cats then be around the adult birds. And generally speaking, like, Pablo's not going to want to tangle with a rooster or a goose. And that makes him give the animals a space. So that's what I do. I don't know if there's any other special tips I could offer you. So yeah. I was looking to get in Maremma. How do I train it not to eat my ducks? Okay, Kyle. So I've actually done a couple videos on this, so you can look for those. But, specifically what I would say is this. Number one, when your dog is a puppy, do not give it access to your ducks unsupervised. That is like the biggest thing you can do that's a mistake, because what can happen there is your dog will learn potential bad habits and you won't be there to correct it. What I did with Toby is this. Number one, I actually kept him in a fenced-in area that was directly adjacent to where my ducks were. So he had, day-long, all-the-time exposure to the ducks. So he saw them, got used to them. They weren't some novelty. They weren't all that interesting to him. And then number two, whenever I was out there around doing chores, I had him with me. And I kept him very close to me, and I would watch him. And anytime he ever showed too much interest or tried to get playful with the ducks, I would scold him and correct him. And really, it was that process that got him to, by the time he was 5 months old, I had a lot of confidence in him just being able to wander around and be with the ducks. And to this day, he now has 24-hour access to the geese and, all day access to the ducks. And I'm never concerned because it was about building trust. It was about knowing that he knows the right things to do. It was about correcting his behavior when he even veered just a little bit off the course. And if you can be disciplined like that, that's, I think, what makes the biggest difference. Sean, it's not coming along as fast as I wish it would. I just haven't been spending the time, admittedly. I've been so busy with farm stuff right now. It's tough. I don't know. I really want to finish this book, though. I think it's going to be really cool. I'm excited for it. So yeah. Spence babies, I think what really, hey, Lil, don't hit the screen, please. Thank you. It's the time of year where I have the windows open in the house and Lil likes to like hit the bugs that go against the screen. and I'm just worried she's going to rip the screen. So that's what that's all about. I think what made me want to start a farm is that I really like the idea of systems and how things work together, and building something like that, and kind of creating ways where you can have a system to produce food for other people. That's just really exciting to me. And I think that was like the ultimate spark that got me there. Where do I get all my memes? Out of the internet, I guess. I think what you're referring to is like the clips that I put in videos, and I just got like a good memory for like pop culture stuff. And, I think about clips. And so when I say something or see something in a video that reminds me of something else, and I make sort of a weird connection, that's usually where that's coming from. Yeah, guys, I'm not going to get quail. Enough said. Hey, Tammy Gillette. Thank you. Tammy from my hometown. Are you able to stay full-time work from home with your day job? It's easier. Yeah, so I don't know yet. I got to be honest, and I don't want to sort of talk out of school around this one. I'm still working from home right now. I don't know what that's going to look like long term. So yeah, TBD. Hunt zone, I don't know. Maybe. I think if there was the right land around the farm, I would probably do that. So yeah. So if like the right opportunity popped up, yes. I'm not actively looking for it right now. Can we get a Pablo video? Okay, Maurice Del Taco. I'm up for that. I will do a Pablo video in the not too distant future. I know he's due one. So the reason I wanted to do the cattle is because I actually have a vision for really building out a business where I want to try to actually start making beef jerky, because I love beef jerky and I think a lot of other people like it too, and do it in a way where it's like sustainably produced beef jerky, grass fed, and raised the right way. I think that would actually be one of the more profitable things to do. And so, yeah, that is 100% correct, Bonnie of Bluebell Barn. I'm not sure what you're responding to, but yeah, I think sometimes people say, "Oh, why don't I have Toby herd?" Or asking if like a border collie can be a guard dog. And no, they're guard dogs and livestock guardian dogs and herding dogs are almost like the opposite of each other. Where livestock guardian dogs are all about protection, and they have like no chase instincts. Like me trying to teach like Toby how to play fetch is impossible, because he's a dog who's had his chase instincts bred out of him, but he becomes very protective of the things that he cares about because his job is to be a guard dog. Meanwhile, a border collie, when you see them like stalking on their haunches, that's like their prey drive going. And so while they won't attack the dog, the birds necessarily, they're trying to drive them. And so it's a very, very different type of animal. Yeah, thank you, Tammy Gillette. Tammy's awesome, just so everybody knows. She does like some great animal rescue stuff. She and I grew up in the same hometown. It's yeah. So, what incubator brand? I don't know. I think I'm the wrong person to ask this right now. I have the incubator brand I have is Brinzy. I've used the Hovabator in the past. I wouldn't necessarily recommend either of them right now, so I don't have a good answer for you. You know what? No hope. I don't think I'm ever going to get a bit tall bear carving for the end of the driveway. I don't think Allison would like that very much. What model do I use, and have I ever considered switching PC? No, I'm a Mac guy. I've been using Macs for, I don't know, 25 years or so. And so, yeah, I have no intention of switching. I love using Macs. I have a Mac Mini M1 right now, which is like those like tiny, like $800 computers, and it's awesome. And I love it. And it's been so good ever since I got it about 6 months ago. And yeah, so I don't have any intention of that. If you guys are interested, actually, this is a good one to bring up. I'm going to put out a video, I think next week, talking about how I make my videos. I think I had actually mentioned that in a previous farm meeting where I asked people whether or not they'd be interested in that. And there was enough interest. So next week, you'll see that video. It should be a fun one. And I'll talk about how I edit and how I shoot and all that, how I plan videos, all that good stuff. Yeah, Charles, this is a good question. So, and I made videos on this in the past. I've actually thought about growing hemp. I probably will grow a couple hemp plants again. I've been growing a couple hemp plants each year and making my own CBD oil. And so I'll do that again. And, you know, obviously within the realm of Vermont law, not growing too many crazy ones without, you know, you grow 2 plants. So yeah, so I will be doing that, but I don't plan on doing it at a farm scale because I just haven't been able to really find a way to be profitable around that. So that is the answer there. Wait, Kira was just telling me something. Kira wants a sculpture at the end of her driveway. So we actually found our farm on the internet. So just kind of cruising through the real estate websites, you know, dreaming and looking and running search criteria. That was pretty much how we found it. And yeah. Oh, thank you, Stephen Provost. I will check that out for, you know, yeah, I've been reading up on overwintering bees because it's going to be one of the biggest challenges I have to deal with. So yes, thank you. What's the most annoying moment you've had with Toby? Annoying. You know what? All right. So here's the most annoying thing that Toby does. And actually, it's funny. Allison and I were just talking about this today. Toby is an amazingly well-behaved dog. He does everything he's supposed to do. The one thing he does though is when he sees me, he often gets very excited and tries to jump up. And I've been trying to work with him for 6 months not to jump up or jump on me or other people. He's actually gotten really good about not jumping up on other people, but I think, I don't know, he's just so enthusiastic to see me every morning that he jumps on me. And so that's the most annoying thing that Toby does. Beyond that, he's pretty much a perfect dog. You know, so I'll definitely I've done barn tours in the past, and I'll do another barn tour pretty soon, especially after I clean it up. I don't think we'll ever do a house tour. And I think the reason is this, you know, particularly for Allison, you know, we're really opening our lives up, right, on YouTube. And I try to be as transparent as possible with what's going on around the farm and what's happening and all that good stuff. But when it comes to our house, you know, Allison doesn't necessarily want to be out there and want to be as public. And sort of for us to kind of keep our house to ourselves is sort of how we view it. I mean, obviously you get glimpses of it. You see lots of stuff happening in this room. You know, like the incubating room we have in the other side of the house. That'll be like another place that you see sometimes in the kitchen even. But in terms of like a full-on house tour, I don't see us doing that ever really. Okay. Oh, I'm missing so many super chats. I'm sorry, guys. I'm doing such a bad job here. Thank you, Diz. I really appreciate it. Honeybee Democracy. I will check that out. That sounds like a really good read. And I am do that, and I will check out those musics as well. Donation goes to Runner's Choice. Yeah, well, we will have some runners here. So the answer, MW, is yes. But I have a sort of unique approach to how I've done my orchard that is not what everybody would suggest or recommend. And really what it comes down to is this. Rather than spend a lot of time, money, and energy amending my soil, what I did was I planted a lot of different stuff and found what worked and what didn't, and I abandoned the things that didn't work. So for example, chestnuts and apple and black locust and mulberry all grow great on our farm. And so that worked out really, really well. Hazelnuts, elderberry, walnut have all been miserable failures. And so because of that, I'm not trying to plant more hazelnuts, walnut, or elderberry. And I am trying to plant more oaks and chestnuts and black locust and apple. And so I've changed my approach based on what my soil is versus trying to change my soil to match what I want to grow. It's really about sort of listening to the land and listening to what you have and working with what you've got versus trying to change the course of nature. I personally believe that's a more effective way to approach things. And yeah, that's really what I get to. Yeah, I am planning on getting another dog. It's just we're still waiting on it, like I said. Well, it doesn't say Old Shaw Farm anymore. We haven't been that. I think that's probably an old picture you saw. So the reason I don't wear a wedding ring. All right, this is a good question, Allison. And it's not because I'm not married. It's not because I don't. I have lost multiple wedding rings. I am also terrified, especially when I'm out working around the farm, about losing it. So I have a wedding ring that I wear for fancy occasions occasionally, but other than that, I don't wear it just because it causes more problems than that. And actually, Allison and I have talked about getting a tattoo. That might be something I end up doing. Yep, that's 100% right, Kira. Toby's outside, so you're not going to see him. Please do a Planet Earth for Toby. I love that idea. You know what? I all natural. I am writing that one down. I love it. So yes, Toby, Animal Planet. I'll do the whole David Attenborough voice. Yeah, I actually should make a couple more of those. I really have enjoyed it. I made that one like 3 years ago, but it's still one of my favorite videos, and maybe one of the more underrated videos, I would say, if I'm going to be immodest. So, Jessica, in terms of the work around the farm, all the animal chores, I should say all. Most of the animal chores are all me. I do 95% of it. Allison will help me in a pinch, like if I need to let the animals out or lock them up or, do something here or there, but it's mostly on me. In terms of the garden, I do a lot of the grunt work. Like I've been, actually today I was working on putting up a fence around our garden, like the expanded fence. And so I do a lot of that work. Allison does like a lot of the management of the garden, the planning of the garden. But I help her. I also do some things like I just planted a huge thing of potatoes that I'll make a video about for next week. So that's really where I put my effort and energy. And so it's sort of a split, but I think, like I said, the animal stuff, that's mostly me. I doubt I will ever get peacocks. I don't plan on getting many sort of weird birds. I'm not like a bird collector, I guess. I like geese because I like what they do for the land. I like ducks because I like what they do for the land. I like chickens because I like what they do for the land. And then I like the byproducts of each of those animals. But, in terms of like peacocks or swans or, like that sort of thing, I'd have no interest because it sort of adds additional complexity. So yeah. Yes, we will, Mary. We will be getting another one. So I'm not going to I've already mentioned this earlier. I'm not going to answer this one, Celia. I don't mean to be evasive. Tomorrow's video will be all about this, and I don't want to ruin tomorrow's video. So you guys can check that out. It'll be out, I think, tomorrow around 11 o'clock. And guys, yeah, I'm trying to get to as many questions as you can. As just some of my moderators have said, if I didn't answer, I'm going to try to get to it. there's a lot of questions that come in, so I'm doing my best. Jaden, I don't think I'm necessarily going to produce wool, other than Toby Dog. So good question, Matt. Initially, I don't plan on it. I could potentially see getting a herding dog and trying to train a herding dog, but I'm just not quite ready for it yet. So yeah. Hey, what's going on? My friends over at the Green Dream Project, Jim and Jess. Good to see you guys out in Arizona. They if you guys don't know Jim and Jess, you should check them out. They are a couple living out in like the high desert of Arizona. They are building an earth bag house, which is like a house made of dirt bags, which I'm not knocking it. It's a crazy concept to me. And so, yeah, they're doing some great stuff out there. So Matilda, if I had to choose who my favorite duck is, I think I would probably say Ron Swanson. I know she's a goose, so maybe that's the wrong answer, but yeah, I just love her attitude, and she's such a plucky one. Yeah. Yes, I love Ben's videos. Ben is a buddy of mine. He has been he's awesome. If you guys check him out. And he even has a goose that came from our geese. So the goose that he has that's actually named Morgan is it's descendant from our geese. I sent him a box of eggs like earlier this year and he hatched them out. So that's the story. Hey, thank you, Wrench Dozer, for that. And I have no tiger update. We have no plans on getting tigers. And thank you, R-Dub. Why meat cows versus milk? So the reason is I actually just can't see, at least with the way my life is set up right now, trying to regularly milk an animal. I just don't have the time. Thank you again, Michael Gilmore. And I'm sorry, I did answer that one. Yeah, and so yeah, like I said, Michael, fresh straw is probably the easiest way to keep them clean. I need a Volkswagen Beetle for the farm. I'm not sure why, Justin, but that's kind of funny. I love Volkswagens. My first car was a Volkswagen, for what it's worth. Oh, thank you, Chief Modax. I introduced your channel to my mom. She's a huge fan. She's currently in the hospital battling leukemia and channel. Oh, I'm really sorry to hear that, Chief Modax. Well, to Chief Modak's mom, if you are watching this, I'm really sorry to hear what you're dealing with, but keep fighting, and I'll be thinking good thoughts for you. Thank you, Lyndon. That's a very cool super sticker. No, I don't have kids, Cynthia Sanders. We don't plan to have kids. Neither my wife or I really want to have children. And I know that that's not for everybody, but I think sometimes people just assume that you should have kids. But frankly, we wanted to live a life where we had a little more freedom to do other things versus the commitment and really focus you need to put to raising children. And I don't know. I think it's it's a decision that everybody has to make for themselves. How deep is the pond, Jay? Pond at its deepest is probably about 8 feet, maybe 9 feet, somewhere like that. I don't know. I'm going to have to find somebody else to take care of it when I'm gone. Just like the people who, like the Shaw family, had our farm before us. It's one of those things where you're a steward of the land, is what I like to think of it as, where for a time period, I will have this land and I will do my best to keep it. And, keep it in good condition and, pass it on to somebody else. So Kevin Miller, yeah, you know what? We have been accepted. I think generally speaking, I think we got a lot of friends in the community. Everybody here in Peacham has been super welcoming. Yeah. So yeah, we have, I think, a lot of, this is a good one. Alexa, the weirdest thing I saw on the trail camera, there was this one deer that
Here's something I found on the web.
Oh,
according to
Alexa, stop. Sorry, I said your name and it set off my. So anyway, there was this one deer that was for a whole night, constantly poking at and posing with the trail camera, and sort of her playing with the trail camera was maybe the weirdest thing I've seen. Jemima puddle duck is actually doing good. So for you, those of you guys who don't know, we used to have multiple pecans. We now only have one. It's Jemima puddle duck. She was Samuel puddle duck's wife, who Samuel passed away. I had to put him down. And then his son Samson puddle duck, her son too. I had to put him down over this past winter. But Jemima, she's doing great. She's walking around. She's with the rest of the flock. She's very much integrated with the rest of the flock. So yeah, she's doing really good, knock on wood. I really hope so. Andrew, that's my dream and that's my plan. That's why I'm growing so many chestnuts and growing so many geese. I want to try to find a way that I can fatten geese ethically, without force feeding them, without gavage. And the chestnuts are actually one of the, best ways to do it for our climate. And so I'm working on it. I don't know if it's going to work, but I'm definitely trying for that. Okay. I don't know. I don't know who's going to be putting a boat in the water there. I don't want to make any calls. So I'm not going to do that just because my goslings are a little bit too old. But I'm going to give you guys, because you're hanging out here tonight doing this live stream, I'm going to give you guys an inside thing. I think in this next batch of geese that I hatch, if I don't have babies hatch with mama gooses that I have, because I have a couple mamas sitting on nests, I will end up probably taking some of the goslings that I hatch here in the house and sticking them in with the mamas. And so that is something that will potentially happen in the very near future. So stay tuned. But don't tell anybody that. I'm sorry, 13 Moons, if I set yours off as well. Okay, Allison Hoffman, I won't read that, but thank you for the super chat. And thank you, Bullet. I hope you and your wife are well. Your videos really show me farms work and how needed everyone's life. Hope the weather's better than here. Yeah, it's actually a beautiful day. It was like 75 degrees and sunny. It was perfect weather today. I really do have great chat moderators. Yes. So a shout out again to our moderators, because again, as you guys see, it gets sort of crazy here. Yeah. So there. Oh golly, I missed one. Oh, Alan Draves. Thank you, Alan. I really appreciate that. And again, I wouldn't have seen that if it wasn't for Kira. So I have some great moderators. Thank you. That's very, very generous. Well, I hope you have that too. And so thank you very much, Alan. I really appreciate that. And yes, thank you again to my moderators. They are awesome people. So we got Rose over at Wholesome Roots. We got Kira over at Homestead Dreaming. We've got Jack over at the Mindful Homestead. We've got Ethan over at 180 Degrees from Average. We got Kathy over at North Star Prepsteader. So thank you, everybody. You guys are awesome. And really, you know, guys, this would not be possible without them. So please be kind. And also don't forget Don over at Little Mountain Life. How could I forget him? So yeah, thank you guys. I really appreciate it. I'm actually starting to lose my voice. I'm gonna have to probably cut it short soon. This is a good question, Creek Kid. I was actually looking at my water level this evening as I was locking up the animals, and it's getting down, but what's happening is it's just evaporating. It's not disappearing. So it's like it's not like leaking out. So the spot that I lined all the clay with, it's actually staying very stable for the last several days there, but it's also been a little bit dry. And so, you know, I don't know if it'll ever go. Pete Peterson, I don't think so. So I've actually been very careful to separate my families. So there actually isn't as much inbreeding as some people seem to think. You know, so basically we infused about 15 fresh geese into the mix, and so they have all intermixed at this point, and so I don't see a significant issue with the inbreeding. Okay, the unknown flock. What's your recommendation for first ducks if you want pet ducks and don't care much about eggs? I don't know. I'm not the best guy to answer this, because I admit I don't have pet ducks. I only have farm ducks. I think pecans are pretty good if you can manage their diet and don't let them get too heavy, because they're definitely the more chill of the breeds. I would not recommend like khaki Campbells. They're way too skittish, or runner ducks probably for that matter. Cayugas aren't bad. Call ducks can actually be a good option there. So yeah, those would be all things I think of. So this is a good one, Jordan. To find good land, I actually think that it's so much easier to find land in a community that you're in than to try to find it from afar. And so getting to know people, and actually here, I'm going to give you guys a tip of an app that I like to use that I have found to be awesome. It is called OnX Hunt. So if you look like I don't know if it's available for Android, but it's available for Apple. And so this thing is called OnX Hunt. And what it is when you pull up the maps on it, it actually will show you based on like town records who owns the map. I don't know if you can see that. But like as you like look around, you can actually see like it lists who the owners are. So you can like find tracts of land and like try to match it up with the owner and maybe reach out to an owner. And so that would be one thing I'd say. Hey, Chase Collette, thank you for that super chat. I really appreciate it. And yeah. Okay, let's see. Yes, Corey Clark, we do have a Patreon. And actually for folks who are on our Patreon, And by the way, there was actually a Patreon question from Patricia Emmons that I want to answer right after yours. You actually get special access, and you can even dial in and be on the video chat. Folks have done that in the past. And so, yeah, if you look for Gold Shaw Farm on Patreon, you can find it. And actually, Patricia's question for the night, I want to answer this one because I really appreciated her asking it, is how did my duck allergy manifest? So as you guys, some of you guys know, I'm a duck farmer who's allergic to duck eggs. I did not know that at the time. I'd even eaten duck eggs previously, but it didn't actually happen until after 2 or 3 times of eating the eggs. And what I would notice would happen is I'd basically get like food poisoning, where I would, be throwing up or being on the toilet. It was like ugly for like 24 hours after I ate the eggs. And so that's pretty much a big part of it. So Woodley, honestly, the viewers of our YouTube channel are a huge part of how we've been able to make so much progress with the farm. I know I've done this in past videos, but like in terms of the infrastructure for things like buying a tractor or building the hoop house or building the fencing, or I'm working on actually getting ready to do the water lines for the cattle. Like that's all come from YouTube money. And so by you guys watching our videos and watching the ads with our videos, that really helps us. By me doing things like taking sponsors in videos, that also helps the farm. And so I'm able to take the dollars that we earn from YouTube and other things and invest it back in the farm. It's been a very unique model for building a farm, but it's working for us. All right. Let's see. I am one of the many wannabe farmers in Poland. Next year when I retire, I'll start my own. But if I'm watching your channel, well, great. B. I'm really excited. And Jenny, I don't know what your question is. I'm sorry. Any suggestions for sources on egg incubation? The storybooks, story like duck and goose books, STOREY, I found have been pretty good. So that's my answer. That would be my answer there. Okay. My favorite video on my channel. I don't know. I think, the video that I made recently, probably the video that I made where it's sort of like a day in the life of Toby, that was maybe the most fun to make. I want to actually make another one of those very soon. What dog breeds would you recommend most for starting a farm? I guess it kind of depends on what you want your dog to do. So like I was saying earlier, if you need a guard dog, I think Maremas are great. There are other good breeds of guard dog though too, so don't let you just think that those are the only things. If you want a herding dog, like I think corgis seem kind of cool. I kind of like them. They're sort of, weird looking dogs, but they're pretty effective and pretty low key. Okay. I'm running out of steam, guys, so I'm going to have to go to a last question. And that last question is coming from the rabbit yard. So, have any of the buff geese laid eggs yet? And the answer is yes. The buff geese have been laying lots of eggs. I think there's one buff goose that's still laying eggs. Most of the geese have actually stopped laying their eggs. So they have been laying for sure. So, guys, with that, I'm going to have to wrap it up tonight. Thank you for watching. I really appreciate you all hanging out with me as usual. I'll be back again the first Wednesday of next month. I'm not sure exactly what date that is, but that'll be the next live stream where we get to hang out and do this again. Thank you again to all my moderators. You guys have been so awesome, and I know it's been actually a little crazy here tonight. So Kathy over at North Star Prep Center, and Kira over at Homestead Dreaming, and Rose over at Wholesome Roots, and Don over at Little Mountain Life, and Jack over at the Mindful Homestead. Honestly, guys, I really appreciate all the help. If you guys want to check their channels out, it'd be so appreciated, and show them love and support, because honestly, without them, this wouldn't be possible. I will be back with a video tomorrow morning. It's going to be all about the littlest gosling, and I will see you guys then. Have a great night.